All right, so looking at Unit 2, Lesson 2, what we're going to do is you should already be able to add multiple images to the game, but at this point, you'll be able to move an image on the screen using the keyboard, the gamepad buttons, and the gamepad thumbsticks. We're gonna look at how we get that thumbstick in there, and then how we move different items around the screen. So what you should do at this point is load up that Lesson 1 add image program. We're just gonna program this with Tiger on the screen. I think we can move him around. So instead of doing a whole new project, we'll just use one that we've already created. So I'd like you to load that up, just test it out, make sure it works. Remember, Tiger appears on the screen. He has a little whatever color background you gave him. If you have other pictures on there, that's fine as well. So first thing we need to talk about in this lesson is the fact that there are a couple of rectangle properties that we can access from our rectangle. And remember that a rectangle has 4 parameters: an X and Y location, a width, and a height. And what we can do is we can change those throughout gameplay by using our object dot, then the property that we're looking at. So we're going to use this idea. Note here that we can access them by doing the name of our rectangle. So in the case of this program, it would be tigerrect.x, tigerrect.y, tigerrect.width, and tigerrect.height. So we can actually access and change those values. Now, what we're going to do here is I want you to add in the code for the keyboard. We'll use the keyboard to start this off. So remember, we need to go into the update section here. We're going to add in the code for a keyboard. So we're going to create a keyboard state object. I'm going to just call it KB for short, saying that's my keyboard. And it's equal to keyboard.getState with no parameter. So that's going to access the keyboard class, go to the getState method, and access basically what's going on with all those keys on our keyboard. If stuff's being pressed, we can then access that and act on the fact that that button is being pressed. Now what I'd like you to do is say if, now we're going to do KB because that's the name of my keyboard object, if KB.isKey down, and let's look at the W key. And if that is true, let's think about what we want to happen here. Well, if that is true, then what we want to happen is we want the y coordinate of our rectangle to change. We want that y coordinate to change. So what you'll see here is if I do tigerrect.y, what I can do is I can actually access and change that y property. So from here, I can type this as, okay, change tigerrect.y and add 1 to it and resave it. So I'm going to say add 1 because I think that adding 1 will actually make my picture move up. So if I press start, here we go. If I press W, you'll notice my picture is moving down. Now that wasn't exactly what I expected, and there is a reason for that. So remember in the monogame window that 0, 0 is up here in the upper left-hand corner, and then y is increasing as we go down. So remember, y is increasing going down. So instead here, I should be subtracting 1 from y, because if I want y to go up, y is actually going to be decreasing. So now if I press start again, and I press W, my picture moves up. Now from here, I can do the same thing. I can copy and paste. And I can now program this for, let's say, the S key, because that's how I would move down. So you do tigerrect.y plus 1, press start. And now what I can do is if I press Y, or W, excuse me, and S, I can move my picture of Tiger up and down. So what I'd like you to do is, now having this knowledge of how we can move Tiger up and down using that Y property, I want you to see if you can get Tiger to move from left to right. So I'm not going to actually provide you with the video code to do this. I want you to experiment and see if you can do it on your own. That's your task for this particular lesson. So I've shown you how to access that Y property here. You can access that rectangle Y property. You can change that Y property. So now see if you can do that with the X property as well.